Josie, it will be up to 5, and any show he goes, they will scatter. There was a show he went to, and when he entered, he met Naira Marley, and when it was time for him to collect the mic, and he got to the stage to sing, Naira Marley left, and after 5 minutes while singing, the place scattered, and he saw Sam Larry, and he said from there is no place he will play on the island, and they will not scatter. Question: This particular incident is just related. Do you remember the exact date? Josie: I do not know the day of that one. Josie: Abi question: But what year? Josie: This year. Question: Was there any relation between the deceased and Naira Marley prior to Naira Marley signing him in December 2019 that you are aware of? Josie: I do not know the relationship between them, but I'm suspecting that his wife linked him with Naira Marley. Question: You talked about constant fight between the deceased and his wife. Josie: Yes. Question: Did he ever tell you the cause of the disagreement between him and his wife? Josie: What causes the fight is that sometimes I believe that there is something you call artificial power. When he's in his right sense, again, when he is in his right sense, he will tell me this is what he has, and the moment he leaks the secret out and I react to it, a fight will occur between both of them. Question: You made mention of when you were called and you came to the house. You said you saw a cloth stained with blood. Can you shed more light on this? Josie: Since all these days, my mind did not go there, but I'm speaking here now. I remembered. Again, I'm going to take it again. Question: You made mention of when you were called and you came to the house. You said you saw a cloth stained with blood. Can you shed more light on this? Josie: Since all these days, my mind did not go there, but as I am speaking here now, I remembered. His body was on the ground and I did not see him. But when I went up to where I usually saw him, that was when I saw the clothes. But when I was told that he was downstairs, that was when I came downstairs and saw his body on the ground. Question: This particular issue of you seeing a cloth stain with blood, did you ever recount this to the police during the investigation? Josie: No, I recollected it now. Again. Question: This particular issue of you seeing a cloth stained with blood, did you ever recount this to the police during the investigation? Josie: No, I recollected it now. Question: Based on your recollection now, was the content of this blood minimal or much? Josie: It was not much because it was a big clot. Again, based on your recollection now, was the content of this blood minimal or much? Josie: It was not much because it was a big clot. Question: When you saw this cloth, was any other person there with you? Josie: I was the only person there. Question: When you got this call that there was an issue, who called you? Josie: The mother was the one that called me. Question: Around what time? Josie: Around to 5 in the evening. Question: When you got this call, what did the person tell you? Did it say he was still alive? Josie: She said my son was in a hospital and that I should come. Question: She did not tell you whether he was alive or not? Josie: No, but the way she talked, I was apprehensive as a father. Question: Where were you when you caught the call? Josie: I was at home. Question: The other call you got, Josie, I was at Osakpa London bus stop because they called the mom regularly. And when we got to the bus stop and asked which hospital, I heard Darisha's voice that Daddy, go home. Question, who was the person that called you? The second call. Josie, it was Darusha. He told me to go back home, that he was okay. Question, and it was the same person that bought the coffin? Josie, yes. Question, what time was this second call? Josie, it was around 7. Question, who talked about Darusha being a cousin to the deceased? You talked about Darusha being a cousin to the deceased. Josie, yes. Question, apart from being a cousin to the deceased, can you describe the relationship between them? Are they close? Josie, yes. They were very close and he was the brother to my son. Question, what about Darusha and Naira Marley? Josie, I cannot say anything about that. Question, during your conversation with your son, did he tell you if there was any form of relationship between Darusha and Naira Marley or any other person in Naira Marley's camp, such as Sam Larry? Josie, no. Question, your son was staying at Naira Marley's apartment before the whole issue came up. Was Darusha also staying there? Josie, no. You talked about 3 incidents that you can recall regarding the wife and the deceased. Can you shed more light on these 3 incidences, one after the other? Josie, there was a time they said we should go to the mountain to pray, and as we were going, Mohbad was sleeping in the car, and his wife had taken his phone and was showing me all the messages of women that he paid 300,000 naira for this lady to come home, and we were going to pray, and we prayed for 3 days, and when we were coming back home, they fought back home. Question, that is one. The second one, Josie, my son called me when he bought a car, and I told him that he was not supposed to buy a car but a land. But he told me that he had a land, 2 acres at Agbowa and a plot at Elepe. And I asked, where were the documents? And he said it was with his mother-in-law. And I said, his mother-in-law, when I was still alive? And I made a step of calling the mother-in-law, and she said it was a lie, and it wasn't like that. And I was asking her for 5 days that my son could not lie, and when she could not, when she would confess, she said it was not Elekpe but inside Berigbe. And I told her to let me have the document, and she only gave me the plot document. What about the acre? They went to form a panel before I went to my son's place, and the boy was laughing. And I asked why he was laughing. Why can't he open up? And that he had 2 acres at Agbowa, and they ended the matter. And the blame was on him, that why did he tell me about the land? They were already using the land at Elepe to do something before I detected, and they changed me to the one at Berigbe. Question, before you proceed, the meeting you admitted to now, what year and month? Josie, it should be around March last year. Question, and the one for the prayer? Josie, that should be this year. Question, do you remember the month? Josie, no. Question, go ahead to the third one. Question, Abi Josie. I entered their house and I asked about his wife, and he said that was why he called me, that she had left the house for about 2 days and I had to call her, and she said she was angry and that he was always carrying women, and she used to see different text messages. And I asked why couldn't she lock herself in the toilet at home, and she had to go to the hotel, and I said I do not want here again, that she left the house after an argument. And he also said he detected her where she was being slept. This grammar. Okay, let me take it again. I entered their house and I asked about his wife, and he said that was why he had called me, that she had left the house for about 2 days and I had to call her, and she said she was angry and that he was always carrying women, and she used to see different text messages. And I asked why couldn't she lock herself in the toilet at home, and she had to go to the hotel. And I said I do not want here again, that she left the house after an argument. And he also said he detected her where she was being slept with. I told him I can't help him send his wife away. Can I continue? Because I've seen a lot and she decides to who works with him. She was sending away his relations, and when she sends them away, Mohbad cannot take them back. Question: You made a mention that the deceased told you that his wife had extramarital affairs. Josie: Yes. Question: Did he go into details? Mr. T.E. Olawale: My lord, like I said earlier, like I earlier asked about the estate of the deceased, we are not here for any extramarital affair. We are here for the circumstances that surrounds the death of the deceased and not whether he was even smoking or into drugs. I asked the question that were you interested in the estate of the deceased? So, my lord, I asked that question should be limited to the circumstances surrounding the death of the deceased. Guys, please power tap, please. Power tap, please. Thank you. Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole: I'm sorry, Your Honor. I believe this is a court of justice, and I believe there are various issues surrounding the circumstances of the deceased. We are not prosecuting anybody, and peradventure, who knows, nobody should be restricted. Eliciting facts from them could linger, and when you are restricted, you are not helping the court to arrive at justice. We can ask questions, but be polite in asking. The court: But that is not to say that we should not guide ourselves, because the question being asked is going into her character. There's no need to give details because now you are going into her character. Mr. Kolawole Salami: I was not going into her character. My question was from the response he gave, vis-a-vis, based on his position in paragraph 12, and the cloth he said he just remembered he saw in the house with stain of blood, which nobody had told the police during the investigation. When you got to the house, did they tell you that what led to the death was injury sustained from an event? Are you aware that he sustained an injury from an event? Josie: Yes, they said he went to a show and had a quarrel with one of his friends and hit his hand. Question: Who told you? Josie: His wife. Question: Did you see this injury? Josie: I saw a small injury on his right hand. Question: Can you show the court the part of the hand? Josie, demonstrating: Somewhere here and little scratch. Question: You just mentioned his friend. What is the name of the friend? Josie: Prime Boy. Question: Is it well known to you? What is the relationship between them to your knowledge? Josie: We were living in the same environment, and when Mohbad finished his 2-year course, he had to leave my house to join Prime Boy, and they became tight friends. Question: So he was not his childhood friend? Josie: No. They met when they grew up at Ikorodu around 2010 or 2011, but they were not really close then. But after school, they became close. Question: Before this incident that happened, had your son ever complained about his relationship with Prime Boy? Maybe they had a fight. Josie: No. Whenever they had a show, he used to call Prime Boy to come over. Prime Boy was his friend. Cross-examination by Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole. Mr. Loba, I want to express my deepest condolences to you. Can you please tell this court, as a father to the deceased, can you describe your relationship with your son to the court? Baba: For about 18 years, he was my friend, and whatever I wanted to do, we do it together. Question: We got to know about the death of your son on social media, and they asked, why did you suddenly bury him? Maybe you hated him, and that is why I asked this question, so we can clear the impression. Baba: Mohbad was my friend, and we think and suggest together, and whatever I think, he was ready to follow me to do it, and from the first year. I detected him as someone that is talented because I'm a musician also, and we're close to the extent that if I wanted to do something, he would be the next person to ask if he could do it. He tells me to do something, the thing will be successful. We're so close that his elder one went to school before him, and it was because of him his brother went to school. I could remember a day I collected a job of 50,000 naira, 50,000, and I was given a deposit of 30,000, and I got home and hid the money. But he went to tell his elder one that I have money for you to go to school, and I told him we would do the job I collected together. When there's nothing to eat, he would suggest that we sell some stools. He did not fight before and was never reported to me. He was easygoing and we do all things together. And when he wanted to enter school, I wanted to buy a car, but he told me not to, that I should buy tiles and do my house. Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole. During this bullying period with Naira Marley and Sam Larry across the shows, has there been any time whereby the family called themselves together and asked if they can pay a visit to Sam Larry to resolve this issue? Baba, we made a move when the first incident happened. I didn't know everything I was doing was being recorded. Question: and what year is that? Josie, that was February last year. But everything he said on the media that they wanted to kill him and if he died, they should arrest Namali. And I told him that his boss loved him because of the character Naramali showed me. And I went to beg Naramali that he should forgive him. My son told me who I was begging is not who he is. So when the second one happened, I saw who he truly was. I made moves for him to have peace with Naramali. And the second one, his phone number was not going and without contact, you cannot meet him anywhere. And I tried my best. But to my son, he would tell me to protect his name and that the media must not hear. And he told me I was okay, that it was okay, that he would take it up by himself. Question: I don't want to go into his marital home because there may be issues, but we cannot gloss it over. During the lifetime of your child, according to the cordial relationship you described, what and what had he ever discussed with you during his lifetime before his death? Because you saw him 3 days before his death. Did you have discussion? Baba. The last 3 days, we did not have a discussion, but the only thing he told me was that when I get home, I should call him and he will send me money. And that very day before leaving the house, I called his mom and his mom was there and I told her I was going to eat when I get there. But I was shocked at the answer given to me. But Mohbad had heard that daddy wants to eat something and he was the one that served me when I reached there. And he gave me mineral and when he finished, he carried the baby and gave me to me and snapped a lot of pictures. Question: during his lifetime, was there any discussion that there was a fight with somebody, with his siblings, mother, friend, or with you? Josie, the only thing he revealed to me is that I have bought land and it is with these people. Question: who are these people? Josie, they are the wife's relations. He told me his money is with them, his mother-in-law and her younger one. I was shocked when I acted on one and they called a circle and he was denying me in front of them. And I asked, was he not the one that told me that he had 2 acres of land and since then, whatever he reveals to me when it comes to public, he won't talk about it. He said there was a time when he was in Malice, his wife would cook indomie and put sleeping pill. And when he's sleeping, then someone will sign in. There is someone they signed in the second room and she will go and sleep with the person. And I said, how did he know? After all, he was asleep. And he said it was the person's girlfriend that caught them together and came to tell him. And he said, I should be careful about these people. And as a man, I couldn't help him send his wife away. And if he didn't see his wife within a day, he would be calling her. There was a time I took him from home and his mother said he would go with her instead. We hid him so that he will not see his wife for 3 days. But he was the one that messaged his wife and the wife traced him there. It was my first daughter that said he was the one that messaged his wife by himself. Question: you said Prime Boy and your son were not childhood friends. Josie: no. Question: within the little time, 3 days, you saw both of them together. What can you say about both of them? Josie: Prime Boy is someone that plays a lot and being an old friend of Mohbad cannot do anything. They play together. Question: from what we heard about Mohbad's mother leaving when they were very young and the time she came back, was there any rift between you and her? As she came back, was there any rift with her son, getting close to her son? Josie: when his mother would come back, it was about 2.5 years, about 3 years, when the son already had a name. And my son told me that he wants his mother to come back. And I already have a wife, and it is impossible but for complete 2 years he would take me to an hotel with his mom and tell us to have nice time, and I told him because of his good intention that there's nothing between me and his mom and he's just putting us together. And when he asked why, I said I could not take another person's wife. I found Mohbad as who I invested in, and because I was not with his mother, I could not benefit. So I told him that I have heard what he said and accepted his mother. Then he bought a car for me. I'll take that again. I found Mohbad as who I invested in. This is in page 67. I found Mohbad as who I invested in, and because I was not with his mother, I could not benefit. So I told him that I have heard what he has said and accepted his mother. Then he bought a car for me. Question: when did they purchase that car for you? And when they purchased it, was there a time you rejected a vehicle that they must put fuel in it? Josie: when I came back with his mother, they gave me an assurance that they would give me a car, and they gave me the car, and I was so happy. And I called my son and I told him that I do not have money, that I need money for license and number. And I calculated that I needed close to 1 million because the car was not raced or serviced, and because it was a used car. And he said the money should not be up to that, and he was sending 100,000, 50,000 to me for the car, and I have been patching it. Question: that is all for the witness. Court: any other question? Mr. Olumuyiwa Ogunsomi: my lord, there will be no re-examination, and we humbly apply that the witness be discharged. The court: Mr. Loba, we are grateful for your cooperation, and from our side, we say please accept our condolences. Thank you very much. Any other witness? Mr. T.E. Olawanle: yes, Your Honor. We'll be calling Ajishebiri Sultan Ayobami. This is where I'm going to pause for a 15 or 30 minutes break. Panelists, over to you for discussion. And this might even be the last I'm going to take. I'm stopping at page 68. I told you I was going to take Baba's testimony today. Perhaps tomorrow we'll continue with that of Ajishebiri Sultan Ayobami. Panelists, over to you. I believe you have a lot of points jotted down. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Am I still on the screen? Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello.
Loud and
Loud and clear, beautiful. Thank you, Dawa. In fact, that was a very beautiful, beautiful show
clear.
you
Let's
just had. And thank you for taking your time and taking it very, very slow with us while you read everything that you read. I have a lot of points. I have too many points. Actually, I have too much, but let's just start. So I was taking the points in the order that Dawa was saying these things, and I'll just be very quick. I'll probably take 2 minutes for each point. So the first thing that I picked there was Baba Mubad. During the interview, the first thing they asked him was, what does he do for a living, or what is his occupation? And the first answer he gave was that he's a retired carpenter. And my question is, at what point did he retire from his carpentry job? At what point did he now leave the carpentry profession? And then if he says that he's a retired carpenter, what was he doing, or what has he been doing since the time he retired? So I think we'll need some answers from his followers, because I know that his people are, on the FYP watching. So hopefully they'll be able to answer some of our questions. They also asked Baba Mohbad about Mohbad. I'm going to be very quick because I'm very mindful that there are other people who wants to also who have taken points down. So the second one was they asked Baba during the time that Mohbad lived with you, all of his years that he lived with you, can you provide us with his medical record? Baba said Mohbad does not have any medical record. He said, yes, he was sick one time, he had rashes, and then he had appendix, but the appendix was cured. My question is, how was appendix cured? It didn't go through surgery. It didn't, how did they cure the appendix? You know, so I don't know. Again, Baba Mohbad supporters can maybe come forward and answer us these questions. Now, while it is very easy for these people supporting Baba Mohbad to come online and tag Wunmi negligent and tag Iya Mohbad the terrible mother and all of that, I just want to remind us that from what we heard, Baba Mohbad had no contact with his son in 2019. He didn't even know where his son was staying. He had no idea where his son was staying in 2019. For almost a year, he had no knowledge of, his son's whereabouts. Because for him, at the end of the day, like we've said here so many times, Mohbad was parentified. He had to step in to be the parent. So anyway, he can, whatever he can do to bring food to the table, they did not care. All they want is like, Toba sono, Nico sono, as long as Toba Makpada will bring food to the table. No one cared. Now, during the incident of the NDLA, I'm taking it in the order that the question was asked. Now, during the incident of the NDLA, Baba was asked what hospital his son went to. He said he didn't know. Yes, he saw his son and he saw the bruises. However, a father that cares so much about your fast rising son, your son who is a star, Ogo Idileyin, he had no idea what hospital the boy went to. Neither did he support his son to the hospital, to the police station to put in a police report. Who was there with him? Wunmi? The same Wunmi that put herself in front of crossfire. If you have to take him, you have to kill me. If you have to kill him, why are you taking him? That same Wunmi is the one that is being tagged negligent. You went, you saw your son all bruised up, but you did not think you were good. You did not even think to go with him. He told you that he was given a substance to drink. He called Bella there in your presence. You were not concerned. You didn't think you needed to go with him to the hospital. He did not go to the hospital with his son. He did not support his son to the hospital to file a report. He did not call Naira Marley on the phone to Beshekpe. So, and Wunmi is the one who is negligent. And Wunmi is the one who didn't care about Mohbad. And Wunmi is the only one who has a duty of care to this boy. Wunmi is the only one who has a duty of care to this boy. His family does not. They do not have a duty of care. They don't owe Mohbad anything. But rather, Mohbad owes them so much to go out and hustle and come and feed them. Now, Baba also said that Mohbad had a home in 2022. And that in October 2022, when he visited, when he wanted to visit the Naira Marleys, he discouraged Mohbad. And then he was assaulted. And this was how Mohbad got to the hospital. He was taken to the hospital by his friends and all of that, but his father did not show up. His father did not even do a follow-up. He didn't do a follow-up to check. The police station you went to, what did they say? What are we doing? No update, no follow-up, no support, nothing. But it's easy for them to blame Wunmi. Now, let's go to the incident that happened on the day Mohbad died. And I don't know why Baba's Mohbad supporters are saying, oh, Oro won't change. There are no discrepancies. What are you people talking about? At first, he said he got a call from Iya Mohbad between 4:30 to 5. Then he said Darosha called him and said Mohbad was not feeling well. No, he's fine now. And then he got to the hospital. There are too many discrepancies in that. I don't even understand. At what point did they call Baba Mohbad? At what point did anybody at all call him to tell him something had happened to his son? At what point? Now, he said when he got to the house, he saw his nose blocked with cotton wool. And they asked him, when you got there, who did they say confirmed. I want to shock you guys. There's a shocker coming in that conversation. Now, they said, who pronounced him dead? Who certified him dead? He said he has no idea. He doesn't know. And then he said, yeah, when they called the ambulance and the ambulance came, he said the ambulance man is also a doctor. And that doctor tested him. Now, Baba Mohbad also said there was somebody in the bus. And that person also checked him. And it was that person that also confirmed that he was dead. They asked him, who is that person? He said he cannot say. Could it be Iyalolade? Because don't forget that when Baba Mohbad met Iya Mohbad, ni Oju Omi, whatever they call that place, Iyalolade was with him. So could it be Iyalolade could it have been that Iyalolade is the other person in the bus that checked him and certified him dead? Emu Yedani. Now, Baba said when they left the house, he said they took him to the police station and they were there for 3 hours. When they asked Baba Mohbad, what is the name of the police station? He said he has no idea. Now, hear this. Nkota was that Baba Mohbad was writing the statement, somebody was helping him, but before he finished, one of the Ogas now came, the Ogas now said no, that they have to go back to the place where, but in this particular statement, Baba Mohbad said, he wrote the statement, he signed, and then he asked for the document, and then they said they cannot give it to him, he has to go to the police station close to where Mohbad actually died. Which police station is that? Baba said, Onwomo. Now, they also asked him about the death certificate, and he said he did not have any death. At the time, there was no death certificate. Again, let me remind you, because I wrote this twice, because I really want to emphasize on that someone was in the bus and that person confirmed Mohbad dead to Josie. Who is the person? I cannot tell you. I cannot say. We might need to go and find that paragraph again. I cannot say. He said that. I can't say. Because I don't know the person. No, I just saw the person. No, he said, I can't say. But me only saw any toje. Now, when they took him from the police station, they decided to take him to the mortuary. On arriving at the mortuary refused the body because there was no doctor's report. So Baba Mohbad stayed with the dead body until 4 a.m. Now, staying with the dead body from the time that the first ambulance was hired to the time that a second ambulance was hired, they stayed with the body at the morgue, subjecting that boy to ridicule. Why? Because he was so much in a rush to just put him on the ground and bury him. They just needed him to just be sent off so that they can focus on what they're focusing on right now. He couldn't be bothered with, oh, we have to get the police result. He had his plan from the beginning. Now, don't also forget that Baba Mohbad, in that same statement, he said that it's the nurse that has been treating him that came to the house to administer him that injection. So now, to treat him when he was sick. So this all suggests that Baba Mohbad did not actually care that his son had died in that moment. Because if you care, before you will get there and say, carry the body, let's call ambulance, you will first shut the doors, sit everybody down, and ask them questions. Kilo shomoyi. Nurse to fun labere da. Ngba nurse kilo fun. Mumi bo ni wo wa. Darosha kilo wa ṣẹlẹ̀. Ta ló tún wá wà ńbẹ̀? Ta ló pe gbogbo àwọn èrò yìí tó wà ńbí? Okay, ìwọ ta ni ìwọ? Kini ti ìwọ? Okay, ẹ mọ nǹkan tá máa ṣe nísìn. At this point, ọlọ́pàá la máa pè because òkú ló wà ńlẹ̀ ya lè máa gbókù kiri. He had made the decision, you know what? He's dead, he's dead. Now I would rather focus on the things on ground rather than focus on ẹni tó ti kú ti lọ nìyẹn. Ẹ palẹ̀ mọ́ ẹ̀ kẹ́ máa gbé lọ kẹ́ gbé tẹ̀lé mi. Now, he said when he got to the house, he saw the body in the parlor. Ẹ má gbàgbé o, that for almost 9 months, what they were telling us, more than 10 months rather, they said his body was put under the staircase. So, anything, but when you hear under the staircase, what does it suggest to you? Because we know that most houses in Nigeria, they're not modern houses, duplex staircase can be like inside the living room as well and all of that. For me, when I first heard under the staircase, I thought, oh, Emma shilekun, Emma gun staircase, losisale, ewari abe staircase. For me, that was my understanding of it. Like outside of the house, go through the staircase downstairs. Under the staircase was where they put the body. That was what I thought. And I'm sure that is what a lot of people think. That his body was kept under the staircase outside of the house. But Baba Mohbad here said he saw the body in the parlor, in the sitting room, in the living room. And they asked him, was the blood much? Only no, the blood was not much. He said they used the cloth to clean the blood. Shamakwe, they used the cloth to clean the blood and a blanket drenched, soaked in blood. You know, they are two different things, right? Shamakwe, they are two different things. When you say that you have a blanket that is soaked by blood, o mean pe o soak eje yen by on drench láti blanket yen. It's completely different from, oh, there's a stain on the floor, you take a blanket and you wipe the stain. And he said in this statement that they used the blankets to clean blood. The blanket was no longer soaked in blood. At this time, it was not a concern from Baba Mohbad that there was blood stain on the blanket. Now, I asked those of you who have been bashing Wunmi, if truly this blanket was soaked, drenched in blood, and it was left at the hallway leading to Mohbad's bedroom or his lounge or his chilling area or wherever that is, how are you still supporting a man that did not question that day and then any nurse lo fun labere lo se blanket tí mo rí lókè tó kún pẹ̀lẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ńkọ́ ibo ló ti ṣèṣe ibo ni mark ibo kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ tí ẹ̀jẹ̀ yẹn ṣe pọ̀ tó yẹn? There was no question at that time about the blankets soaked in blood. Now, something else Baba Mohbad said while he was being asked questions like, okay, you and the Iya Mohbad, because to the best of my knowledge, in Kote Migbani pe Iya Mohbad and Beni Songo. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I mean I feel like information is lost so much, right? Because Baba Mohbad said that him and Mama Mohbad, they are living in the same area. I think this question was asked in relation to, okay, at what point did you connect with Iya Mohbad? At what point did this, did that? We're living in the same area where this. So he said they were living in the same area. So correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Iya Mohbad and Beni.
No, kí lorúkọ ẹ̀ Mohbad ṣe rántí pé Mohbad ti gba ilé fún yóò gba ilé mi sí fún yes Ìkòròdú.
Ìkòròdú, okay.
Kóhun àti bàbá ẹ̀ lè jọ máa meet in there.
Okay, beautiful.
It was after this party that they got she moved back to Songo.
Songo, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Because I wanted to know that because I just put that down. Songo to Ikorodu.
Mr. Befe, in addition to what he said he was the only one that saw the blood stain alone.
Yes, I wrote that. Yeah. They asked him, did anyone else see the blood stain? He said no. The blankets, stained with blood. He said no, that he was the only one that saw it. Now they asked him, did you consult with your wife, with the mother of the boy or the boy's wife before going about the burial arrangement? He said no. He made that decision by himself. O make decision in front of say ni hello ba me sing otilo. E ká focus lórí what we stand to gain. Let's focus on, more important stuff. It's gone, it's gone. Let's focus on what's on ground. And they asked him, who bought the coffin? Who bought the clothes? Did they give him a wash? He said Darosha organized everything. So Darosha, this is an open message to you. Think about Dake, Tare, Abadake, morning. One of the reasons Wunmi ṣe gba liberation tó gbà nísìn is because she stood up, she came out and she spoke. She came out and she said the little that she could say, Are ede fuye. Are ede fuye, and she felt light. Don't keep quiet. Come out and do the needful. Nobody has to tell you what to do. Just know what you know and share what you feel comfortable to share. Now, they asked Baba Mohbad, did Mohbad marry this person? Like, who is Wunmi to Mohbad? He said she is his wife. The same Baba that has come on social media to tell the world that the son did not marry Wunmi, that introduction lost her the engagement. He told the coroner court that she is his wife. Now, let me take you back to the NDLA topic again. Now, when the NDLA, so after the whole NDLA situation and all of that, Baba Mohbad said that Mohbad could not go out for 6 months after drinking that substance that was given to him. So it was more like he was isolating himself from the world just to go through detox. 6 months. Josh, that 6 months, tí bàbá yẹn fi isolate sílé yẹn, is that not enough reason for every father to step up and come out and scream and fight? This energy that Baba is using now, is it not enough? The fact that your son was given a substance, your son said that he's feeling some way or this or that or whatever it is, and he wants to stay home, and he stayed home for 6 months. Is that not enough reason for you to get up and actually fight for your son? Nínú gbogbo ẹ̀ náà, he also said that women lo artificial power to fin control Mohbad. His mother, he said he had something with them, and then when I went there, my son denied me. My son kiniko, my son, he has artificial powers. She has artificial powers to fin control money. But you claim to be a pastor. You claim to be a man of God. Àwọn àdúrà wo lẹ bọ́ sínú ilé yẹn lẹ ṣe fún ọmọ yín láti break him from whatever it is you think, whatever spell you think, or whatever it is that you're thinking in your head. All of this at the end of the day is just to nail this innocent girl for nothing. Now, he said something that blew my head. In fact, when I read that, I almost unmuted to just say something. I'm thankful now that I didn't. He said, rather than Wunmi leaving home and going to spend a few days outside of home, why didn't she lock herself up in the toilets? Wọ́n ní kí ló tí Wunmi ò ṣe tirẹ̀ mọ́nú toilets. So you expect her to lock herself up in the toilet for a whole day because she's upset with Mo. It's a bad thing that it's a bad thing that she summoned the courage, or she had a safety safety plan for herself, or a self-care plan for herself, or a de-escalation plan for herself. But okay, whenever this guy offends me, rather than me and him screaming our lungs out and fighting and doing all of that, I will take a step out. Okunrila motoman step grow. Majority of the time, since incident bashele. But women also do. I step out of my home sometimes and I'm really upset about something I don't want to talk about in that moment. I grab my keys and I go for a drive. I have a sister in this city. There are times where I just pick up my stuff, take my kids, and we go stay the night at my sister's, or I'll go somewhere. I do take break from home. It's a mental health break. Any you won't shake to piss me off, any you won't be mininu. Me or the fair reactive, me, the fair reactive, the way take me and what on power. Don't forget that it was not just Wunmi and Mohbad living in that house. They had other people there as well. So for her, I don't want to be here and I don't want to watch these people watch us fight and watch us have this, heated altercation. I'm just going to take a break and step out of the house for a few days, and I'll come back when I feel calm. When I'm calm enough to come back, I will come back. And she's been blamed for doing that. Now, let me end my own, points here, so someone else has the opportunity to, can also take the floor. Ní gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tá sọ nsìn, ọ̀rọ̀ kan ló hits me jù. And as a parent and as a child myself, it took me to a place of reflection. That when we pour into our kids, when we fill our kids' cups, when we pour into our kids, when we nurture our kids, when we raise our kids, don't forget that these children, we are just the drivers. Don't forget that it's a privilege that God gave you the honor to parent a child, because there are people out there who just want to have a child of their own and but they just cannot. for some reason or the other. To hear a father say his child is his investment, it's a different thing if your child is a retirement plan, where I have labored all my life for my child. There's a certain age I get to. When it's but Josie is telling the world that his child is his investment. Investment meaning. Mo de wo pe the only way tí mo lè fi reap from my investment is to give him what he wants, is to agree to marry his mother. And because I agreed to marry his mother, that was the only reason he bought me a car. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, I ask you one question and one question alone. Will Iyalolade be happy? Iyalolade, will she be happy? Toro ti ń rọ́wọ́ yọ nísìn. Yes, he said that. He said that. He said, I invested in him. He said that. He said he invested in his son, and that he knows that the only condition that would make his son buy him a car was for him to agree to marry his son's mother, Mohbad. So he agreed to his offer or to his request.
Sorry, he actually literally said that the son is his investment.
We can never rule that investment out. Those were his exact words. I see him as my investment. God bless you, Kira. And the only way I could get the things that he promised me was for me to agree to his offer or to his request for me to marry his mother. And as soon as I agreed, he bought me a car. Before they then started asking him, did you force him to buy you money for fuel and all of that? No, but he bought you the car. Now I ask you, Iyalolade, who has been standing on the fence, will Iyalolade be happy? So ti jẹun yóò ń sìn àbí? O ti di celebrity ń sìn. Owó ti jẹ sí ẹ lọ́wọ́. So now you think you're going to just bring your mother into the picture and your mother will now become the wife. So I can benefit from him. Yes, he said that. So you bring your mother into the picture and your mother will now become the wife and your father will now marry your mother and they will now be, Wọ́n lè fi ṣe ọmọ, wọ́n lè fọmọ yìí ṣe kàkà kíkú má jẹ sèse ni, á fi ṣàwàdànù ni. So, Emil, personally, this last statement that Dawa read just crowned it all for me. That his son was his investment. And that's why he didn't really care what was happening in his life. He didn't really care if he was getting bashed or if he was getting his jobs getting sabotaged or if promoters were being called and if his career was, as long as you spend money and you bring food on the table. And Mohbad had a very poor reflection of himself. And that's why you will never see him, even in interviews. Mohbad could not make eye contact with anybody. Because they've messed with this boy's self-esteem from home, from when he was young. They made him feel like he was nothing, he was nobody. You're only important when you can bring something to the house. Either you give me this money or all hell will let loose. Yeah, Mohbad, I had to beg my son, every one of them láyà. And it's unfortunate that Mohbad is not here to tell his story or share the things that he went through in the hands of his father. But his child was his investment. Mohbad was an investment for Baba Mohbad. It was a paycheck out of poverty. So I hope you all know why they are after Liam so bad. So I'll leave this, I'll just end my, analysis here for someone else to take over.
I'm thinking that I might be ready to come back, is he?
I don't want the recordings to be too clumsy, so I'll take the remaining of Ajishebiri another day. But let's just go straight to analysis.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to bore people much reading. Yeah. Pythagoras,
Pythagoras. Mr. Pythagoras, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I was waiting for your 2 minutes to be over.
On each point.
Sorry?
She actually said 2 minutes for each point.
Oh, for each point?
Yes, that was what she said.
So, from the total number of minutes she spent now, so Ajankwe, she had like 20 points. But that's fine. She's one of the 2 people I don't want to speak after they speak on this platform because they actually cover the whole point and you are left with really nothing to say. But that's fine. But from the few things I can only add to it is for people who are in doubt about the police commitment to this case and their diligence on it. From the drilling of the ASP, I've forgotten his name, we can see that even though they are reluctant, even though they don't want this kind of publicity for themselves because of the antecedents. Yes, people might not want to trust them that much, but we can see that on this case, at least on this case of what led to his eventual death, we can see that so far so good, they are up and doing on it. Yes, it might not be what we want. They might not be covering all the areas we want them to cover, but I believe with time, we'll get there. We can see that with all the examination and cross-examination, we can establish that it's an ongoing investigation. And they are not going to stop until they get to where they should get to. So it's not like they have concluded on the number of suspects, their number of witnesses. The only thing holding them back now from that drilling there is the result of the toxicology and the interpretation of it. That is when they can now dig further, dig more into all these suspects, into all the witnesses, and even people of interest on this case. So I want to try and I know some of us even here we feel like they are trying to avoid some questions. They are trying to take some people out of the picture in relating to them being suspects here or something. But still, yes, it is their own job to conceal some of this matter. It is the job of the lawyers and all that to bust it open for them. And I believe the lawyers, they did good with the drilling. And from what we can see, it's an open case. And the police, at least for now, they are doing what they should be doing. So coming down to Baba Mohbad, there are things that we can now quote clearly. Yes, even before now, we've been saying it that, maybe this, maybe that. But now we can say it with 100% certainty that he buried this boy horridly. A question was posed to him earlier on that did he see any death certificate? He said no. The lawyer being who they are, he tried to put some other questions before trying to nail the coffin he's putting him in. Then he now asked him, sorry. So the lawyer, before nailing the coffin on him, he asked some other questions to distract him. Then he now put it back to him like, who buried this boy? He was trying to dodge it, that he pointed the place where they should bury him. Who gave the instruction? He said he gave the instruction. Who and who was involved in the preparation of this burial? Did you ask the wife? Did you ask the mother? Did you ask anybody? He said he took this decision by himself. If there will be any other case relating to the burying of this boy, there is no way Joseph Aloba can escape going to prison from his own testimony already. Because he was the one arranging things. Even the case of embalmment, he was saying, a question was posed to him. That was this body prepared for embalmment or anything? He said no. You said you saw blood, a cloth drenched with blood. You saw that upstairs. And they asked you, on the body, did you see any blood stain or anything? You said no. The silent question there is that even if you saw a cloth filled with blood, that could have been anybody's cloth or anybody's blood. You were unable to link that cloth to the body because on the body you could not see any stain of blood. That was what the lawyer was trying to put there, but it was just a silent question. That means that whatever you saw there was irrelevant. And again, another question came that, who was there with you? You were the only one, so you could be lying. So you can see that with this little, I don't know how many hours they spent asking him these questions, you can see that he was falling apart already. If there was to be further questions and answers for Joseph Aloba, especially after all this he has done online on what they will say, what do they call it again, social network. With all he has done on the social network now, you will see that he will not be able to even last 30 minutes under any cross-examination. You usurped Wumi by denying her of her responsibility of her duty to her late husband. You took over a body that was not even yours to take over. You went out to bury this body. You confirmed it yourself. So, because when you got there, you got an explanation. A question was posed to you that they didn't tell you anything. What happened to him? Did you ask any question? And he said, yes, you asked. What did they tell you? That he developed complications from the injection he took. And you were okay with that explanation. And to you, life goes on. The next thing is, let's go and bury him. Because you were okay. The deed has been done. Let everybody move on with their life. So, what is now the cry all about? You've accepted your fate. What is the cry all about now? You even said that you were going to even if you went to the police station at all, you were going there just to get a report that will allow you either put him in mortuary or put him in the ground. That is what you were after, even if you did or take the body anywhere. But eventually we discovered that you didn't even go to any police station at all. So you were okay with it. And to round it up, you made the statement that this boy was an investment to you. And you will do anything to make sure you get the maximum returns on your investment. Because that is the interpretation of that. You will stop at nothing to ensure you get the maximum return on investment. It's just simple business to you. It's the rate of return. It's the ROI you get on that investment. That is all you were concerned about. Which is fine for any businessman. If you are just call yourself a businessman, we'll be okay with that and not call yourself a father. But it is good. But people should now see clearly the people we are dealing with, the kind of father we are dealing with, the father of the year we are dealing with, the father of the year who didn't know where his boy was living for a whole year, because they were asking him, you didn't go there, you didn't find out, you didn't call him. He was saying no. Maybe the question they should have asked the question that, was he getting any form of money from him all those months? Because he was definitely getting money from him. He doesn't care about the health of the boy or who the boy is, who are bullying the boy, as long as the money keeps coming in. That's all he's concerned about. And that was why he was very quick to rush upstairs to see what else he can take from this boy. Of course, you know the old mentality, like, Mako will in bedroom where. I'm sure he went up there to ransack the place. Nígbà tó rí pé òun ò rí wèlé ló padà wá sísàlẹ̀ wá bá lọ́ọ̀yà ń pé àfà. Mo gbọ́ ń pọ́ ọmọ ẹ̀ láwọn ilẹ̀ síbì kan bó láwọn òwe yẹn wà. Just look at that. I'm sure with the course of us reading this CTC, a lot of revelations are still going to come out, and we'll be here trying to analyze them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawa class.
Ẹ má bínú o, mo ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ débí ni, ẹ má bínú. I've been so busy. Mo mọ̀ pé àwọn kankan understand, yeah, I've been so busy. But mo ń gbọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tí everybody ń sọ, but I'm not with the phone at all. Mo kàn wá far away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tabefe. Baby Boo, Mr. Dawa, Freedom. Thank you, Chubby Me, everybody. Mo kí yín o, ẹ ṣé o.
Thank you, Dawa class, for the beautiful bread. As always, he was eloquent. Abefemi, that was a detailed analysis. Pythagoras, our agbẹjọ́rò Tomoye without wig and uniform. Well, you guys have summed everything that needs to be said have been said. I'm just going to buttress on my own part on the things that have been discussed. And I observed the parts where the lawyer were trying to establish the title that they've given Mr. Aloba as the father of the year. In fact, another one typed in their usual English and said it is best father of our year. I saw that comment. But from the cross-examination from the lawyer about did he consistently lived with you for 18 years? They were trying to establish what type of father he was. And even though he had said, oh yes, he lived with him consistently for 18 years, we know from evidence out there, even from how we can follow the life journey history of Mo from his music and all of that. And it's obvious that he didn't live with the father consistently for 18 years. Another thing that I have also been able to confirm is the fact that we're dealing with a vindictive man. For whatsoever reason, he has made up his mind to go all out for Omowumi. And that's why even in the interrogation or the cross-examination, he said, they asked him about his son's musical career. And he couldn't even, he was clueless. In fact, if I'm to give that man a title, I'll give him the clueless father of the year. He had no clue about his son's life, everything around him. He was clueless. And that's why when they asked about his musical career, the journey and all, and they asked about NM, how Mohbad came in contact with NM. And the only thing he could said was, is most likely through Obawumi. Like even me that didn't live with Mohbad, we have read the interview, we have heard, we have seen. So for a father to come out and say, oh, through the wife, oh, come on. Why is he so desperate about putting everything on the wife? Then he went further to talk about the wife putting stuff in the food and the son will sleep off. And he claimed that the son told him, but where is the evidence that the son ever told him such things? Don't forget again that Asats, when they were at the Malian's house, they were not even married at that point in time. So where is the I can't send his wife away for him? They weren't married. And I love the fact that Abefe touched on the supernatural aspect of it. You know, I think I've even made a comment or post on that on Facebook before, when someone was saying, oh, they jazzed Mo. And I'm like, okay, so if you are talking about jazz and a prophet, which should win? So it's evidence that it's just a case of calling a dog a bad name so you can hang it. That was all that played out there. Then we go to the blurred parts. Initially, he said it was a stain, it was a cloth, then it turned out to be at the lobby, not even in the room. How did it suddenly got on TikTok and it became a pool of blood? It became a Kampala blockade. It became all manner of things just to suit agenda of these people. I mean, to just keep us perpetually here. Then also the embalmment. You know, he went from there was cotton wool. He didn't even I'm not sure I heard the salt part. I only heard cotton wool and that he was dressed up. And again, the man asked, the lawyer asked, was he buried that way? He said no, that they changed him. So the lawyer said, so it means he was not embalmed or prepared for burial. You know, there were contradictions in that part. And someone in the comment section actually typed something that made a lot of sense. Like, even if you claim that he was embalmed, so why were you hurrying to bury him? Is it that the salt was not embalming after all? Because if it was embalmed like you truly claim, why the sudden hurry to want to bury him that evening that was later postponed till the following day? So Mr. Aloba has still not come to answer us on the real reason. It can't just be because no police report or whatever, because I have said that severally before. Let's even assume the previous day you couldn't get the report, you couldn't deposit him. So what happened the following day? You even gave them time by 12/1, bring him over for interment. Why not trying to deposit him somewhere? Why not trying to find out what actually happened? But of course, he was satisfied. And that's why when all of these people come out to say, oh, the father is not asking too much, he's only asking what by his son. And I'm like, are you saying that he buried this boy without knowing what pied him? So it's either he was given a reason, he was satisfied with it, and he just couldn't wait to do away with the body so that he can get to the part of the property. I mean, even before the guy was interred, he had started asking, where does he have a land? Is the house actually his? Did he bought the house and all of that? So I see a man who just wants to be done with the whole burial process. And maybe that's the reason why he said, "Ijotabari bini bin wole," just let me just dispose of the body so that we can move to the things that matters to him. And when you talk about investments, maybe I do not understand what investment means. Because in all of Mr. Aloba's narrative, I didn't see or hear any parts where he said, oh, this was what he had invested in his son. It has been the son all along, shouldering the responsibility of the family. So there was no emotional investment on his part, neither was there financial investment. I mean, or maybe he used to encourage him on certain ways. But when you talk about emotional investment, bonding with your son, with your child, to feel his pain, to be there with and for him, as fathers are usually the ones that the male child would even look up to. He wasn't there in that capacity. He was a father who was a decorative father. Yeah, like that's my daddy, that's my father. So he was there as a father, but just a decorative father, not an invested father. So that he claimed to have invested. To me, it's a no-no. There was no investment. And that explains why it was easy for him to move on quickly. Even when we can hear from the mother's interviews where she said, she still believed her son wasn't dead. She believed maybe a miracle would have happened. Because as a mother, there is some form of bond. As friend, Zlatan or whoever said, oh, don't bury my friend yet. They had that bond. And as a wife, of course, Omowumi has been the one who has, been the ride or die with this guy. And they could not understand the reason why you just want to dispose of his body, which was the major outcry the world and everyone had that time. So as it seems now, we're still going back to that aspect of why was he hurriedly disposed of. Then to further make that interesting, it is a crime to have done so. So we're going back. So all of the shifting of focus, shifting of attention, shifting of blame that he tried to do, we're still going back to why Mohbad was hurriedly disposed of. And I believe that as time goes on, we would be able to unravel this, and whoever needs to pay would pay for that, and whatever led to his buy at the end of the day. Thank you, everyone.
Unfortunately, I would have loved to talk, but I don't. My break is still in another 2 hours, so. But I listened to everybody. Mr. Loba, you tried. You really, really tried. It's so unfortunate that I can't talk right now. It's my busy time. And I'll come back later. Mr. Patagoras, ẹ má sọ̀rọ̀ o. Ẹ má sọ̀rọ̀, mo ń gbọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tẹ̀ ń sọ látẹ̀kọ́ mi
ẹ má dá
sọ̀rọ̀
wọn
ní o.
lóhùn yẹn la máa
Ẹ
rí
má
wọn sí
sọ̀rọ̀.
ẹ fi wọn
Nígbà
lẹ̀.
tí ìyàwó yìí máa kíyàn, mo ti wà lórí bíbá látàárọ̀ wọn kí mi ẹ dé wọn kí sweetheart wọn.
mo ti gbọ́ yín.
Èmi dákẹ́ mi
báwo
sọ̀rọ̀.
nǹkan yẹn ọkàn lèmi kàn tiẹ̀ fẹ́ sọ àná ó dà pé ó pé méjì nínú àwọn nǹkan tí mo gbọ́ is about Josie saying Wùmí ló gbé Mohbad lọ sọ́dọ̀ Naira Marley. Ìyẹn one. The second one is him saying small court lòun rí. And later on, when they were talking about stabbing, he was even ready and he told them that they should go to the morgue to go and check the body of Mohbad. So that is where I'm confused. Like, you already said it in the court that it was a small cut and a small scratch. So where did this stab of a thing now comes in again? These are just see that land, whatever he's talking about. And I was happy with some of his statements saying, yeah, they went for engagement. And suddenly now engagement has turned to, it's just an introduction. They turned it to engagement. It was in the introduction, and Mary said Babaloba told her that Wunmi was the one that gave him the money to pay for dowry. Like, and another thing, Joseph Aloba is saying, èèyàn kan kò tẹ̀ láwọn lọ, according to Aries yesterday, èèyàn kan kò tẹ̀ láwọn lọ, in fact gbà táwọn débẹ̀ lọ fún àwọn fìlà blah blah blah. Babaloba should come outside and tell us that people did not come from Ekiti to that engagement. Àwọn family Aloba tó bá wá láti Ekiti kí Josi bọ́ síta kó wá sọ. Toro sọ pé òun nìkan lòun lọ, àwọn family òun ò tẹ̀ lóhun. I don't understand. If there's even anything that Josie wants, he shouldn't get to this stage of trying to blackmail that girl, try to lie on her. Just say it the way it is. Àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn nìkan ni mi ò understand. Àwọn èèyàn kan jẹ́ sọ pé Baba has been consistent. Like how? When we played his interview in the morning, all this former interview that he has been doing, he was saying something else. Now, Coroner Inquest is another thing we are hearing. When are we talking again? Mo ti paná ẹ̀ náà. Mo ti paná ẹ̀ ti pẹ́. Okay, bóyá ṣé iná nǹkan tẹ́ ń ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀ ni mo pa ni ẹ̀dẹ̀. Iná ẹ̀ ni mo rò pé mo pa. So I don't understand. Why is he lying? Why? Ó tiẹ̀ ti pọ̀ jù, eléyìí gan kọjá defamation of, in fact tó bá ní nǹkan míì tá à ń pè ní defamation of character, tá bá lè pè nǹkan míì ní defamation of character, eléyìí worst. Brekete, another narrative. Thank you. Oriyomi, another thing entirely.
Word for word. He was never placed under the staircase. He was placed right there in the sitting room. Sister Befe has made so many points about his neglect. Baba said that Mohbad moved out of the house at age 18. That is different from the words of Prime Boy. Mohbad stayed in his house for 4 years. Mohbad stayed in Prime Boy's house for 4 years before he met Naira Marley. So Mohbad was not at that age. You said Mohbad stayed all 2 years ní Polytechnic. Bàbá ṣẹ́yìn lẹ sanwó school. Abẹ́ rò kó jáde pẹ̀lú ND certificate. Abẹ́ mọ̀ pé drop out because he couldn't pay the school fees. Best father in the world. So you don't even know the certification of your son. You didn't see your son for 1 year, but you know he went to Dubai. I was reading this thing and I was seeing so many inconsistencies. Because you said you didn't have any discussion with Mama Mohbad. You said she came inside the house. You said that in your statement. Pé wọ́n wọnú ilé yẹn pẹ̀lú yín. Ẹ dẹ̀ parọ́ síbẹ̀, whereas ìyá Mohbad wọ́n gbà kó wọnú ilé. Wọ́n gbà kó wọnú ilé. Ẹni yẹn kọ́kọ́ ká irọ́ nígbà tẹ́ sọ pé HND ló gbà in 2 years. HND. Ah, there's nobody. There are some people that say, I'm not in support of anybody. Please, play the recording of Wumi's testimony. Go to Usha's platform or Sister Befe's platform. Wow, we have so many bloggers that are streaming it now. Listen to the testimony of Wumi and listen to the testimony of Baba. Then after 3 days of trying to assimilate the points, come and tell me you are still neutral. No sane person would hear both testimonies and not say, Wumi, you have done well. They beat up your son. You saw him with blood marks, with injuries on his body. He now told you, even if he told you that I'm going to handle it, what if he had died around that period? The neglect that they are talking about of Wunmi, pé ó ṣèṣe, kí ló dé tó fi bundle ẹ̀ lọ hospital? Àwọn èèyàn tó lọ sí Coroner Inquest wọn ò ṣe sọ fún bàbá yín pé gbà tẹ́ ẹ rí Mohbad that he was injured when he came back from Naira Marley's house. You did not bother to know about where he took his whether he was taken to hospital. You did not bother about whether he reported at the police station. You did not bother about that. Shouldn't they also use the same standard and say, Baba, you have been you have been neglecting your duties as a father. Shouldn't they use the same strokes? Shouldn't they use the same cane they are using in flogging Wunmi to flog Baba also? Is that not neglect also? But he said, Mohbad said, I don't want people to think of me less of a man. But when Wunmi also said it, that you can't force him, he said he's not going to the hospital. You said no, Wunmi is guilty of neglect. Is Baba not guilty of neglect? You failed to see your son for a year. What's the difference between you and Mama Mohbad that you said 10 years I no see mommy? You also did not see your son for a year, and you said it at the Coroner Inquest, and the likes of Westo did not come out to say this to the public. Is the truth not out now? Are we not now hearing the exact things that happened at the Coroner Inquest? Then some fools will come out and change the narrative and present Wunmi as an evil woman, not knowing that this girl stood in front of a gun, was beaten into a gutter. This girl, who you say her husband is a millionaire, but decided to give birth in a traditionalist's home. But little did you guys know that Mohbad is not as rich as you presume. He's not. You even had the guts of having this unappreciative mindset by saying that it was a second-hand vehicle your son got to you, that you needed to raise it, you needed to patch it, that he'll be giving you 100,000, 50,000. Ikú Bọ́lá jẹ́. Even if I am not there. But even if Mohbad decides that the documents of his properties should be given to the mother of his wife, ṣèbí nítorí wọ́n kàwé ni? Bàbá ṣẹ́yìn kàwé, abẹ́ mọ nǹkan tó máa fi dọ́kúmẹ́ǹtì ṣe. Ṣé ẹ kàwé? He found himself secure with his in-laws than his own father. Àtúnṣe bẹ̀ ló yẹ kẹ́yìn máa wá. Kò ń ṣe pé kẹ́ wá lọ máa pé you said you were calling the mother-in-law for about 5 days asking for the documents of properties. Ṣẹ́yìn lẹ rà á ni? Ẹni tó lọ ra property, ó trust èèyàn tó fún. Nítorí ẹ̀ náà ni kò lè fi gbé placenta fún yín kẹ́ lọ sin. What was his excuse? Ẹ mà níyàwó kan, that you have many wives. Ẹnu yín ò dẹ̀ ń bò. Ẹnu yín ò ń bò. Ẹ lè má fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan ibi pẹ̀lú placenta o, but tẹ́ bá lọ sọ́ ńbìkan ńkọ́? Ṣèbí wọ́n sì sọ fún yín pé ọmọ yín wà lọ́sípítù, kí ló dé tí ìyá Lọ́ládé tẹ̀lé yín? Ẹnu yín tí ò bò ni. Wọ́n fẹ́ lọ wú òkú, ẹ ní kọ́mọ yín lọ, kálé yín náà tún lọ. Ẹ̀ ń lọ police station, kí làlè yín wá ń bẹ̀? Ṣé wọ́n pè é bẹ́ẹ̀ ni? Báwo ló ṣe tan mọ́ Alọ́ba? Ah! I am speaking the reality. And these are things we found in the CTC. These are things you said with your own mouth. So whoever that says we are bullying Baba Mohbad, this is not bullying. This is what we read from the CTC. If you have any issues, go and request for the CTC and read. If I deleted or paraphrased any sentence or I jumped any sentence throughout my reading session, if you notice it, then please accuse me of defamation and bullying. But if I don't, think about all the words of the CTC. Go and request. You should just go to the Coroner Inquest article. There's a price to pay for it. Tó bá jẹ́ pé à ń twist ẹ̀ ni, sue us. But if it is indeed the truth that we are reading word for word, have a reflection of everything we have been reading and everything you've heard us say. In fact, CTC gan ló tún fẹ́ jẹ́ kí n sọ pé Wunmi, ọmọ ló jẹ́. Ọmọ ló jẹ́. And God will bless you for standing with Mohbad all through his pain, and even in death, you are still standing by him and guarding the only thing he has left. God will bless you. Wàá jẹun ọmọ, wàá jẹun ọmọ. Ò ní jágbàyà, àgbà ló máa dì, ò dẹ̀ ní ṣe láńgbáláńgbá. Inshallah. Ilẹ̀ ti ṣú. I don't know if Church Bimi is back or if other people would want to talk. You can bring other people up, but from me, ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ ṣàánú mi ni. We might continue the reading tomorrow. If time permits, I'll be free. If time permits, or tie anybody over, it is sọ̀rọ̀ kíní kan. Me, the other thing. Thank you very much for listening.